had.
That would have been great. And we're live. Welcome back, everybody. We are SRC 2024 April Hall show down here in Frisco, Texas. I'm with my great friend Eric Oberembt.
Nope.
Oberembt.
Nope. There's
Eric,
no U in it.
Eric
Oberembt.
Oberembt.
Yep. Now say it all together.
Oberembt.
Oberembt.
Oberembt. Oberembt.
Yeah. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Eric O. My friend Eric O.
Did I ever tell you the story? Because everybody called me Eric O.
I think you did.
I did.
But let's hear it again.
I was in college and my license plate said Eric O. My grandpa got me a license plate, personalized plate that said Eric O. And I had like a bunch of guys that I hung out with, and they only knew me as Eric O for like 2 or 3 years, the 2 or 3 years I was in college. And one of them came up to me when they found out my name was Oberembt. And he was like, I thought your last name was O. And I'm like, you thought I was fucking Chinese? Like what? And he literally did. He was like, yeah, I just thought your name was O. I'm like, that's wild. You're an idiot. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Because I look fairly Asian.
It's very, I don't know why it's difficult. I don't know if it's.
Because it's exactly how it's spelled.
Okay. Well,
like
yeah. So why would it be so difficult?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I think one of Mike Goldenstein's
I fucked that up for years
New
too.
Year's resolution was to get your name accurate.
Oh, well, that'll never happen.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to make that one of mine in the top 20.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't go top 5.
No, probably top 20. You know, because considering the fact that I do consider you a close friend, so I should figure out how to pronounce your last name.
I won't be hurt if you don't, though.
No doubt. Thank you for that. Thank you for being understanding and loving. So let's talk about let's dig deeper a little bit on the panel that we were on. And what some of the things, the takeaways, or what more that you wanted to probably talk about and didn't have time to talk about.
Sure.
Because there was 4 or 5 or 6 of us up there, and we do this because we want to pour into other people. And I know that's why I was sitting there, and I know that's why you were sitting there. So here's an opportunity for you to maybe elaborate more on, maybe a question or thoughts that you had when you were up there.
The one thing that I was probably going to dig into is when culture started getting talked about, because I think that people get a little too tied up into what is up on their fucking wall, right? But they don't actually do any of those things. And it was why I started our group, right? It's why I started Culture Movement, because I was like, I think that people are missing they're missing the point on that, and they throw some shit up on the wall. But are you actually hiring and firing based off of those things? And it's something I'm going to talk about tomorrow. That recently happened to me in my company was I had made a promise to everybody in my organization that I would not allow negative and or toxic people to stay in the organization, because I know what it does to the group, right? I know what it does to the team. I know what it does to the family, whatever you want to call your company. I know what it does. And I had somebody on staff for quite a while that was negative and was toxic, and people walked on fucking eggshells around him for a couple of years. And I didn't do anything because out of fear, because of the unique skill set that he had. Right. And I kept them around, and I kept them around too long. And literally what got me was I was scrolling and I saw some fucking video, right? Some quick little reel that, and I don't even remember what it said, but I remember that it triggered me to go, oh my God, I broke my promise. Right. And I took that reel and I shared it in our company group chat. And I said, I promise to do this, right, and get rid of toxicity. And I had to then go make that decision that I'd been fearful about. And literally once it was done, everybody was like, thank you. Right. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that defines your culture, right? Is if you make a promise and you say, this is what we hire and fire on, and just because somebody might be really good at something, or they might be succeeded, or maybe they're selling a lot or whatever, are you holding them to the same standard that you said you're holding everybody to when you hire them, right? You're supposed to have set that expectation when you brought them in. Are you holding them to that standard later, regardless of what they're producing? And if you're not, then you're not upholding your end of the deal, and then you're going to lose people, and it's going to be because you lost that culture.
For sure, man. And a lot of people don't talk enough about that. And as vulnerable as you were about that. I think if anyone who's been in business long enough has experienced something like that, and I know I'm guilty of that too, and a whole lot of things went through my mind when you were talking. Our leadership is only as good as what we tolerate, right? Because all eyes are on you at all times. How is he going to react to this? How is he going to respond to this? Is he going to let this slide? Well, now you're setting the tempo. Well, they let so and so get away with this. Why can't I get away with this? So that's one thing there. So that's one thing that I keep in mind, that all eyes are on me. And that's, and if you hire and fire based upon those things, that's your loophole.
Right.
It's that simple. Bring them into your office. Like, there it is.
Fucking told you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You put me in the position.
Yeah.
And all eyes are on me, and I'm a man of my word. So I'm sorry.
And we're obviously going to have conversations before that, right?
Yeah,
like we're going to bring them in and be like, hey, remember this? Like, can we adjust so that we're following, like you agreed to these standards when you were hired? You give them you don't just shit can people right away, right? Like at least I don't. I probably hang on to people too long.
Me too.
Right. 100%. Yeah. But I'm going to, I don't want to change too much.
Right.
Right. But I have to hold myself accountable just as much as I'm holding other people accountable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't think enough people understand the importance of a culture. Okay. Yeah. You can have the best systems, the best processes, the best technology. Does not matter. Means nothing if your culture is shit.
Right.
Okay. You can delete your systems, your processes, your technologies, and have an awesome culture and won't need any of those things, because whether you know it or not, whether you got a system or process in place or in writing or documented, by default, you'll have a system and a process put in place. It just happens. With a culture being in place, a good culture, you can get through anything. Your team's rowing all in the same direction. It's a family-oriented atmosphere.
If that's the culture you want.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna jump in and say before I forget it.
Yeah, go for it.
Is that I think that it needs to be a consistent culture, right? Because something that I talk about, that I'll be talking about tomorrow, is I don't think this will be sustainable, right? But like, you might have a culture of fucking partying and doing blow and drinking every night and right, whatever, right? Like that might be your culture. I know a few companies that is their culture, right? As long as you're not pretending to be somebody else, to be something else, right? And if that's your culture and then that's what is attracted to you, again, you're probably going to fail if that's what your culture is. But at least you're being consistent with your message. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like, I'm not saying, again, I think that the culture that you should instill is the one that you and I are talking about, right?
Yeah.
But if it is a little different than what we're talking about, at least be consistent with whatever it is that you decide is important to you, right? Just like Jim said, it's a key performance indicator, right? It's the key part, right? What are you focusing on in your company that makes that culture different? Because if everybody's is the same, then who gives a fuck where you work?
Yeah.
Right. So what makes yours different so that you have that key indicator, if that makes sense.
And it's almost like, what do you stand for as an individual too? And that's what sets the tempo. If you're in it just for yourself and what can you get out of this? I mean, I think that plays a lot into the type of culture that you're going to have, right? If it's a selfish, greedy, those are the type of people that you're going to attract. But if it's caring, loving, growing, exceeding, personable, you know what I mean? Because we run it as like, if your personal life is in shambles, your professional life is probably in shambles. Usually there is no business problems or professional problems. It's personal problems that people bring that bring it to work. So if you can identify that, and if somebody, key performance indicators, if somebody usually succeeds very well, high performer, they're off for a week, they're off for 2 weeks. And if you're that guy that can identify that, notice things, and not go after them like, hey, you're screwing up, cursing them out, all these things.
Yeah.
But if you approach it in a way, and this is something I had to work on, because I'm like, I'm moving 100 miles an hour. Everybody needs to be moving 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation that we could have. But if you sit down with them and be like, hey, what's going on? Is something going on at home? Chances are something's going on at home.
Yeah.
And if you really give a shit, and it's like, well, what can I do to help? Well, so-and-so sick, or the kids are frightened, or whatever the case can be, is typically we as teammates can get through that together if you really give a shit about your team. And when you start to create a culture like that, and that's kind of deep, but we've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. And the people that we work with have been there for a while at our place. Do we bring new people in? Of course we do. But we have very little turnover. I'll probably get home and 5 people
every
quit.
time I say that. Yeah, I come home, I'm like 3 people quit. Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
right.
but it doesn't really scare me because we have stacks of applications that people want to come work for us because of our culture.
Right.
And it's because of the community involvement. It's because of the way that we treat each other, not the way that I treat people. It's the way that they're being handled and the way that they're being led when I'm not there.
Right.
What has made me a good leader? It's the things that's going on when I'm not there, not just necessarily when I'm there.
Because you can only impact 5, 6, 7 people directly, right? So you have to make sure that you're impacting those 5, 6, 7 people appropriately so that they understand that they need to be impacting the 6, 7 people that are underneath them in the exact same manner that you're impacting them, so that it continues to trickle down all the way to the guy cleaning up the fucking yard with a rake.
Exactly. And that's true impact.
Correct.
That really is. And that's what leadership is about.
Yep.
We touched on that just briefly up on that panel up there, but leadership is about creating other leaders and helping people get where they want to be and help them succeed. Really giving a shit about that, because it's a win-win. It's a win-win for them. It's a win-win for the organization, and it's a win-win. And what I mean by organization, and we talk about this all the time, you are so good at your job that this individual has a job. Because you're here doing what you're doing, they have a job today. And it's like this trickle down effect. The phone rings, the girl that answers the phone sets the appointment, salesperson goes out, they're so good at their job, they help a homeowner out. We send production team out, they do such a good job, salesperson gets a referral, right? And there's like this cycle, this trickle down effect, that because everyone is so good at their job and they know what their job is. It's not just going out and selling a job. You know what I mean? I'm going out here to sell this job. So Jacob, so Brandon, so Tyler can all go out and do this job, right? And when you can find people that truly believe that, magic happens. And I would say, I'm not saying that there may not be a shithead or two that does sneak through the cracks sometimes in the organization. It just happens. Okay. Especially when you're doing it for a long time and there's a lot of moving parts and stuff like that. But when you can kind of like, I don't even want to say like start brainwashing people, because when we start talking like this to just average Joe that walks in the door, they're kind of like, whoa, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Zenny shit or like woo woo stuff. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, once they're there, and after I sold them on coming to work here, because I felt like I used to have to sell people to come work for us. Now we don't have to do that. Like our people sell us for people to come work here, because now they're talking that woo woo shit.
Yep.
The people,
because it trickled down.
Yeah, it trickled down, and it's like they have become our biggest brand.
Yeah,
they're
your megaphone.
Yep. Man, they're the ones screaming from the rooftop. So it's like when someone does leave, and this is the thing, and this is what's humbling about legacy, right? And this is something that I identified. People will come, most stay, some will go, and if they go, I know they're going to be a changed human being.
Yep.
Personally and professionally, when they go through our, whatever you want to call it, our incubation, through the incubator,
your brainwashing.
Yep. Our brainwashing. Once they go through that, the only thing I can pray for is that they make $100 million when they leave here, and they can impact 100 million people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's
I've had a couple people leave that I hope get hit by a fucking bus too.
Well, and that's not very healthy for us to think that way. So believe me.
But we have the moment, right? Like,
absolutely.
And I'm just saying, for the people that are like,
okay,
so it's like,
so to change the topic, I need things like that to happen to me, though, to piss me off.
Right.
Like, don't piss me off because I just might build a fucking empire.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we talk about this all the time. Like, this is how we got where we're at today, because I got pissed off.
I like that.
You know what I mean? And now I need to find someone else to get pissed off at, because I've kind of felt like I've hit this plateau where it's like I got to find something.
That's really good. Yeah, that's really deep.
It is deep,
right? Because you do. You have to. It's almost like just resetting your target, right? And you use it as pissed off, or whatever you want to call it.
Once you've outgrown that
target or that plateau or whatever it is, and it's like, now I'll show that motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
Like, and maybe not the healthiest way, but you know what I mean?
Right.
But who gives a shit,
Right.
right? Like use whatever
what
you're
works
given.
for me.
Yeah, use whatever you're given.
Yeah.
But you do have to find a new target, because it goes back to the old saying, right? Like, you can't hit a target that you're not aiming at, right? Like, if you don't know what you're shooting for, then what the fuck
How are you going to hit it?
How are you going to hit it?
Exactly. Yeah.
So no, that's a really good point. I like that. I'm going to steal that and use that somewhere else.
You're more than welcome.
Appreciate
it. And
it.
this is what's crazy. I just told Vic about this. So Patrick Bet-Davis just wrote another book called Choose Your Enemy Wisely. I wrote word for word. I'm listening to this book and I'm like, and I've been talking about this way before his book came out, but it solidified my thinking. It solidified my thinking, because I thought maybe, because I don't like to usually publicly speak about a resentment that how we got here, because it doesn't sound very healthy.
Sure.
Okay. But with listening to him in a healthy manner, and knowing that, and listening to his story and other people's story within the book, it solidified that my thinking has been right. And this is why we are here.
Tell me the premise of this.
Of his book.
Yeah. That you were like, is it about like having the people, or like, what is the premise of like what it is that you've been talking about that you're saying?
The fire, that most adversity, overcoming adversity, and using that adversity to motivate you.
So using the adversity.
Yes.
Okay.
Or resentment, adversity or resentment to fuel your fire to build an empire.
Gotcha. Because I definitely have like people not in my life, but that were in my life at one time that I still use today, of like, I'll fucking show them. Yeah. Like, I'll show them what the fuck.
But now that you know, and the seed's been planted, now you can be more intentional about it.
Right.
And follow through 100%.
With it. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I think that's great.
You know what I mean? In a healthy manner, because you don't want to obsess over it, because this is the thing. Either you'll obsess over it, right, and you'll kill yourself, because I almost did that early on years ago, 15 years ago, almost literally, physically.
But if you use it as a push.
Yes.
Is that right?
To fuel you. Yep.
Just as a
let
push,
it motivate you.
Okay,
let it be the thing that wakes you up in the middle, in the morning, not in the middle of the night. Yep. Put your feet on the floor, and this is why you're going to work today.
Got it.
I'm going to crush you.
Yep.
Okay.
Love that.
Yes. So, shit, I forgot what the hell I was talking about.
Me too.
Shit. Anyhow,
new topic.
Yes, new topic. So who's next?
I feel like this happens to us a lot.
I do too.
Yeah.
I had like 10, 15 other topics going through my head there for a second. So, fueling that fire. And other people, when something happens, a resentment, they shut down, or adversity, they shut down. If this happened to you, you would act like this too. You know what I mean? But as individuals that don't allow those things to get in the way and become a roadblock, right?
Okay, so that's a really good point. So that's something that I talked about on a podcast with somebody at RoofCon, was guys in our position, guys, gals, whatever the fuck, right? But like guys in our position, in leadership role, owner, whatever you want to call it, we don't get the luxury of getting to sit in a fucking corner and go boo-hoo, right? Like the how it got stemmed in the original conversation is that they asked me how I was doing, and I was like, I don't know, like nobody asked me how I'm doing. My job's to ask how everybody else is doing, like, because it doesn't fucking matter how I'm doing. I got shit that has to get done, and I have other people that are impacted if I don't get that shit done. So it's immaterial how I'm doing, right? Like I'll talk to my therapist or my coach about how I'm doing, right? But like I have to compartmentalize that shit, because like there's stuff that needs to get done. We don't get the luxury of hiding and going and curling up, right? We don't get the luxury of curling up, because we have to keep moving forward, right? And if you do continue to if you are the curl up, like this is not the gig for you, right? Like it is not,
and you can't, and who would want to work for somebody that caved every time something bad happened, right? Like you gain more respect with the people that are besides you, working with you and stuff, because of how you handle things. And I think that really helps define what type of leader or what kind of person or individual that you are,
and transparent about it.
Yes.
Right. And having conversations, right? Like we went through some struggles. I went to my people and said, this is what's going on, right? Like, this is why, this is what's happening, blah, blah, blah. And it was really hard to do. And I had them come back and they're like, thank you. Thank you for talking to me about, like, now I understand why you react this way when this happens.
Yes.
And if you wouldn't have had this conversation with me, then I would have never known. And I just thought you were a cocksucker.
Yes. And you gain more trust.
Gain more trust.
By being personable and transparent and vulnerable. Vulnerability is one of the biggest things when it comes to leadership, being vulnerable.
And finding the line of where it's okay and where it's not.
Yes, totally.
Right? Because there's a line. Because there's some shit we can't fucking talk about.
No, absolutely not. Because then they think it's acceptable for their behavior.
Or they start freaking out.
Yes.
Right? Because the same thing, like you can't talk to your wife about certain things sometimes. I did a whole fucking episode on that with Daniel. Right? Is like some stuff you have to keep to yourself because like if I get them, it kind of goes back to like a step 9, right? Like can't do it if it's going to harm that you or others, right? Like, and if it's going to harm others, like I better keep that shit and work through it on my own and do what it is I need to do so we can get through the other side.
100%.
Right. And so it's finding that line and that balance of like, where is that line? Do I jump over it here? Or maybe I stay on this side of it, stay in the shallow end.
Yes, for sure. No, I 100% agree. And watching what you say at times. Okay. Don't talk about other teammates to other teammates. That's something I learned, because the last thing I want anybody to think is that I gossip. Right. And the one thing that I've really been trying to be intentional about working on is creating like not what's the opposite of a rumor?
What's the opposite of a rumor? Fact.
Okay, there you go. So I read this, I don't know, a couple years ago. I would much rather, and I've been working on this, like saying something good about an individual to somebody else until it gets back to me.
Oh.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
That's why I was trying to figure out like what's the opposite. So what I've been trying to practice is saying something really good about Vic to Glenn.
Is that hard to say something good about Vic?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
At times, or vice versa. But you know what I mean? Until it gets back around, I've caught myself, and we've had these conversations and with Glenn and Vic being here, and Gio not so much because he's not in those real heavy, hard, conversations that we have to have sometimes, is that I have to clarify, like, this is solution talk right now.
Right.
We're talking about a solution. There's an issue. So we're going to talk about a solution. Sometimes that's about an individual, because we don't like gossip.
Yep.
Like if you're going to say something, go over here. Don't go tell them. You hold them accountable.
I want to dig back into this telephone idea, basically, that you're doing, like playing telephone.
Yeah.
So you will say something good about somebody. So let's say hypothetically, even though it's really hard, you say something nice about Vic.
Yeah.
But not to Vic.
Right.
To somebody else.
Yes.
And then wait and see how long it takes to come back to you from somebody else in the company.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's kind of,
and they don't even know we're doing it.
It's all
they don't even know we're doing
fucking do now.
They do now.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also like an experiment.
Yeah,
to find out how gossipy these fuckers are.
Right. Yeah,
in a good way.
Well, what you learn is there's certain people that you can't tell anything to, but then that's the person that if you want everyone to know something, you tell them. Yeah. So if something's being launched, I go to this person right here because I know every time they can hear it.
Yeah, it's just like the small town you live in. You're like, well, you want the small town to know? Tell Bob. That was literally my old neighbor, and fucking Bob told everybody everything, right? So it's like, we love Bob, but we couldn't tell Bob shit.
Listen,
unless the rest of the lake
knew.
And
it's hard when you're seriously trying to be intentional about not talking negatively about other people.
Yeah,
you have no idea how often you actually do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, just us talking about it, like I know that I'm not perfect at that.
Right. Yeah. We'll try to stop doing it, and especially to whom.
Yeah.
To whom you may have to speak to about somebody else.
Yeah.
Be cautious on who you do that with.
Yeah, that's really good.
You know what I mean? And again, that's just from experience, because I am a poor leader at times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I realize the havoc that I've created. Like I'm the only one that can fuck this up.
Yeah.
Really.
The only good leaders are the ones that know when they're being bad leaders, though.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Right. Like being self-aware enough to identify
100%.
Hey, I've fucked that up.
As soon as I've said something before, fuck, why did I say that to that person? Because now when they walk out the room, what's to keep them from thinking that I don't talk shit about them?
And it's not going to be, hey, don't say anything.
Yeah. Right.
Because that doesn't work.
Right. Right. And Glenn's laughing because he knows, because he's my right hand man.
Yeah.
So, and so is Vic. But when it comes to the production side of things, my operation, Glenn's my guy. And I sometimes want to be careful on the things I do say to him.
Yeah.
Because God forbid, I don't want him to walk out that room thinking that I might, that's why we clarify this is solution time.
Right.
This is solution time. That's why you're in this room with me right now.
Right.
I need to talk to you about something.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. I just thought I'd
I'm gonna
bring
take
that.
some of that shit.
Yeah, go for it, dude. I mean, and again, when you master that craft, bring back to me what you've learned from it, so then we can expand on that shit.
Deal.
All right.
Deal.
Love that. So what else do you want to talk about? What else was
shit
going
on me? This ain't my show today. I don't know. I brought up the culture thing, so you're next.
Okay. I could talk about, well, we talked about leadership too.
Yeah.
Daniel Zavatny reached out to me and wants me to be a guest author in his book.
What's the book about?
Leadership is the topic he wants me to talk on. And I thought, out of all the people that he could have chosen, what a freaking honor.
Yeah.
Like, seriously,
Was he drinking?
He must have been. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Like on a 3-day bender, hallucinating shit.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
I've definitely never had anybody to ask me that.
No.
So I'm a little jealous. I'm gonna put a little fucking fire in my belly now, and like I'm gonna put it out there.
That your butt hurt. That
I'm a little fucking butt hurt. Yeah, like I need to write.
Well, I do get the option to choose someone else too.
Oh,
like if I had any suggestions on anyone else that could be in the book,
I wouldn't choose me.
You're not going to do it now.
Oh,
now that you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole thing I had with Paul, where Paul would never go write a book.
Dude, how
I
about
wrote
this?
my book, and then he wouldn't write it.
Like,
I wrote it first.
So we were talking about me writing a book, and I was going to wait till after we do this and kind of use that as a launch pad. How about if you and I write a book together?
Ooh, co-author.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't hate that.
My first book.
That's what we're gonna call
your
it.
Second book? Sure. My first book. My crazy ass thoughts.
It'll be because my first 2 books are just about roofing.
No,
that's fucking.
This is like the shit that we're talking about right now. Stuff.
Yeah.
And
I would do that.
Yeah. Are you down? You want?
I would do that.
Like by the end of the year, like I want it completed.
Yeah. So would we do like, ooh, this is fun. We'll strategize and everybody have to fucking watch it.
Yeah.
So like, are you thinking we do like Ty chapter, Eric chapter, and then go back and forth, or have chapters with counterpoint, or agreeance? You know what I'm saying?
Let's think about the Audible. Let's think about how the Audible would go.
Ooh.
Right. So would it be us talking to each other? Maybe a little bit, like where you would actually finish my sentence.
That sounds gay, but yeah, I like that.
I liked it up until the gay part. I
forgot a quote I used to use back in the day was, "It's not gay if you don't push back." So so we can throw that out there. It's your show.
Okay. Yes, and it's live.
I'm in. Yeah, and it's live. Oh yeah, wow.
Thank God we're in Texas.
You know how many times like I've been on this show and he keeps asking me back, knowing what could happen.
I know.
No, I love this idea. I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, if we really think about it, sit down and collect some thoughts. And
so here's an idea. This is because this is what I was going to do originally when I was going to start writing something. It was going to be leadership principles based off of the 12 steps.
Right on.
Right.
I thought about that too.
Yeah, and
because that's how we run our organization.
Exactly. And so that would be a good premise.
Okay.
For like how we could structure it.
Okay.
Basically, because I mean, at least we have that knowledge.
A lot of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that idea. I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in.
Good stuff.
So we're setting a deadline that it's done by the end of 2024.
Yes, but like, when are we going to get together? So we got to get together at least a couple times a month to talk about it via Zoom or whatever that might be. So, and set a date for that.
Yep.
Right. So then maybe like the draft is completed by like the third quarter.
Yep.
And that gives us the entire third quarter.
Yep.
To revise, edit, whatever we want to do with it, because I don't want to just say right now, we're going to write a book by the end of the year. I want it launched by the end of the year.
So what are we selling on the back end of the book? We won't talk about that here, but that's something we always got to think about when you're writing a book, right?
Yeah.
Because there's got to be something on the back end that you're directing them to.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to figure that out too.
Okay.
Right. We shouldn't give away all our secrets here, but yeah.
Right.
But that is
and I have a company that'll help us out. I think you'll love it. I think you'll really love.
I mean, I think that'd be fun. It'd be fun to do it together and not have to, because I think that my fear was probably the fact of doing it alone, probably, because then I'd get bogged down in it, and it was like, I got so many other things to do. But like, if I got somebody that's accountable,
right here, I don't have time. Can you finish this part up?
Yeah,
I'll review it.
Right.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm in. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Come up with something catchy and offensive for a title.
Yeah. Leadership, culture, all the good stuff that we like to talk about.
Yeah.
And where we're at in this season, because we may end up coming out with another book. Like that was like that season of our life. But here, since we've grown, this is where we're at in our season of our life today.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Awesome.
that.
Me too. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Excellent.
Now what?
I don't know. How long we've been boring them.
Yeah. How long? 30 minutes?
That's good. We got another 5.
Do we got another 5?
Yeah,
okay.
Probably.
So we're here in Frisco, Texas. You're speaking tomorrow.
So I'm speaking tomorrow. Yeah. I hope everybody doesn't pussy out and leave because of the weather.
We'll be there.
Okay. That's really all I care about.
Yeah,
as long as you guys
we'll be there.
Yeah. I'm excited to speak tomorrow because tomorrow's the first opportunity that I'm going to get to. I'm doing my keynote about the team method, right? And talking about trust, empathy, authenticity, and meaning, and how you build that into your culture, into your company.
Yeah.
But now that I've started building it into kind of my other platform and into the cult culture movement and in the group coaching, and then in the trip that we're taking and everything, it's kind of grown into this thing that I didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
And so now I get to bring some of that into the speech as well for like practical purposes.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to like share those stories again. I get really excited when I get to do that.
Yeah.
Like it means a lot to me. What I also realize though is no matter how many times you do a speech or a keynote, you fucking forget it.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like I was sitting here yesterday, I drove in yesterday. I'm like, I'm good. Then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. What do I do in the first 10 minutes? And like, I had to go back and like read my outline and be like, oh, that's the story I tell. And I was like, man, I need to make sure that I review all this shit because I thought I could just show up and because I've done it 6 times.
But you're not doing it every day.
Right.
There's so much that goes on. Yeah.
Done.
Yes. Yep. You so much happens in between each time you do it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your trip in this. What are you calling it? You have a mastermind group that you're developing.
So the cult culture movement is the group coaching calls that we do.
Okay.
That we do twice a month. And those have been awesome, and I've loved them. And I rebuilt the program a little bit because I had these different levels of it. And it was like, well, you get this or you get this with private coaching, and if you join the platinum, you get the trip and blah blah blah. And I was like, you know what? That's not the way to do this shit. The way to do this is to give everybody the opportunity to do what they want, right?
Okay.
So like everything that I offer is a la carte.
Okay.
Right? So if you want to be on the group calls and all you have time for is 2 hours a month to be on the calls, to interact, to learn, to help others, whatever, like, then that's fine. Then that's what you got. Oh, you want some private time to really dig into some shit because you don't understand some systems and some processes that maybe I do. And you want some, help with that, or you want to go through this really, dive deep into this culture thing that you don't understand this part of it or whatever it is. Well, you can do that as well. Okay. Now we're going to do a trip twice a year. Right. And the first one, and I'm doing these trips based on shit that I like to do, right? So like I've gotten to go on all these amazing retreats, right? And run by amazing people. But it's always this macro scale, and there's always so many people there, right? So I'm capping the trips at 12 to 15 people.
Okay.
I'm keeping it super intimate. It's not about a bunch of speakers and whiteboarding and fucking coming up with shit for next year, right?
Yeah.
It's about a group of men, and yes, it's men only, so that men can be vulnerable, have conversations with other men about stuff and not feel judged by anybody else, right? And they can sit and just be, right? And then go do some cool shit. So we're going to go scuba diving and we're going to go find some sharks and we're going to do some awesome stuff in Grand Cayman this year in April. I think I've only got like 4 spots left. We filled like 7 or 8. But we're not letting in just everybody. And I felt bad about that because I put applications out. And if you're watching and you filled out an application and I didn't call you, I'm sorry. Right.
Yeah.
But there's just there's
well, don't feel bad because you didn't call me.
That's bullshit. I did fucking call you.
You did?
You turned me down 3 fucking times.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
I was just sitting there thinking this motherfucker didn't even invite you.
Yes, I did. I fucking texted you 2 or 3 times and I'm like, yeah, you're probably too busy to want to come on this trip.
Phone.
I said, and you were like, yeah, no, I'm in. And I was like, you probably don't want to pay to fucking go anywhere. And you were like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that.
Was I sleeping in a blackout or something?
Dude, I'll go back. I've got the text.
Okay.
I 100%. You were like this. I'm not going to lie. You were the second person I texted.
No way.
Yeah. Fact.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
I was kind of hurt, to be honest.
Really?
Yes. A little bit.
I'm waiting for you to invite me.
I might have motherfucked you under my breath a couple of times.
Was that
actually.
My phone? Shit,
Yeah. Nathan turned me down because he's scared of the fucking water.
Okay. Listen, I'm going whether you invite me or not.
Are you scared of the water?
No.
Are you certified to scuba dive?
No.
Can you get that done before we
I don't
go?
even know how to swim, but I'll go.
Oh, fuck me in the ass. Do you really not know how to swim?
A little bit. I can doggy paddle.
Can you get you have to get certified to dive?
When's the trip?
April. It only takes 2 weeks to get certified to dive.
I'll get certified.
You just find a dive shop in your area. You go to the book work and the pool work.
Okay.
And then my brother-in-law in Grand Cayman will certify you once you're there with the open water.
I'm in.
Really?
Yeah.
Perfect. We got 3 spots left now.
I'm in.
Okay. I really didn't think you wanted to, and I felt really bad because I didn't think you wanted to go.
No, I think it would be great. I love the water. I've never been to Grand Cayman.
It's awesome.
So yeah,
it's awesome.
I'm in.
April 22nd to the 26th.
Okay.
So somebody write that down in his calendar because he'll forget it as soon as we get done with the show.
I totally would.
Yeah. Well, that makes me happy because like it's going to be the whole purpose of it, just to close out with the question that you asked about it, is that I just want to facilitate guys that don't like we pour into people all the time, right? So like Mike Claudio's coming, Adam Bensman's coming, like we've got all these guys coming that pour into people all the time and they never get to just fucking be right. And it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna like try and lead some exercises of like getting guys to talk and be vulnerable and do some trust exercises and some empathy exercises and whatever, but it's gonna be like natural and organic, right?
Love that.
So that we're not like I said, we're not whiteboarding and like we're not teaching, right? We're having these great conversations that at the end of the trip, it's like, holy shit, maybe I made this relationship with this guy, right? Yeah. But that wasn't the intention going in. The intention was to just be with these people that are high level dudes that give a shit about other dudes. Yeah. So we could be there, right? So like I got an 11-bedroom mansion on the ocean in Grand Cayman. I got a private chef and I've got a dive boat chartered for 3 days.
I'm in.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah. And now I'm super happy because you're coming.
Yeah.
So
100%
deal.
Yeah.
This trip was worth it so that I could have you tell me that you really thought I didn't invite you.
I really didn't think you did. I thought you asked me to come on a call one time and maybe I misunderstood. I didn't have time that day, whatever day that was.
I mean, I'm sure I did that too. But I definitely asked you for the trip. But if I didn't, I apologize.
That's okay.
But I know that
I was pissed off at you.
Were you?
No.
I'm glad that we were both mad at each other. We're like a couple of women. We were both probably a little sad at the other one because you thought I didn't invite you. I thought that I did, and you didn't respond to me, and that made me sad.
Yeah. So I didn't even respond to you. When I get off, I'm digging through my phone here.
Yeah. And maybe I phrased it wrong. To your point, right?
I think I thought I thought you wanted me to get on a call.
And I probably did
with you guys,
but I know that I mentioned the trip.
Maybe you did.
I know that I mentioned
because sometimes I'm on the fly and I'm kind of just like
I do that too.
You know what I mean? So it was totally because we didn't actually speak. Talk about it.
No, it was just texting.
Yeah, for sure. And I always take text out of text.
Yes, I do the same thing.
Yeah, so,
yeah. Well, I'm super happy. So everybody heard it here. Ty's going to learn how to scuba dive.
I will.
Yeah, I will literally look up the dive shop for you in your area. I had to do that for Bensman.
Really?
Yeah, he had no idea. He's like, where do I get certified?
I'm pretty sure there's a place in New York that'll do it.
I'm sure.
I know there is.
And so literally all you have to do is call them up and say, I need to do the book work and the pool work for open water.
Okay.
And you do the book work and the pool work so you learn how to be buoyant.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then when you come down to Cayman, my brother-in-law will do your checkout.
What's your brother-in-law's name?
George. You met George.
I know.
Yeah,
George.
Yeah. He might not actually do it, but his staff will.
No, I look forward to seeing George.
Yeah,
he's great.
That even makes it better. I forgot that you met George. Because George came to RoofCon.
Oh yeah,
that's hilarious. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
So and his buddy Ernie's gonna be our private chef.
Yeah,
like he's amazing. And they got a new boat last year, like this big ass boat, so we can fit 15 people on it and shit. And
okay, so now there's 13 people and you're trying to fill 2 more slots.
No, so I think we've got. I was originally going to cap it at 11, but we've got a few people coming that I can make bunk up together so that I can get to 15. I think I'm at 8. I think I'm at 8 or 9 right now. So like I'd like to get, not including me. So like I'd like to get to 12 to 14, 15 would be ideal. Because here's the other thing. I'm not making any money on this deal. I'm charging $5,000.
Yeah.
Right. $5,000 for a mansion in Cayman, a chartered boat, and a private chef. Right. Like I'm not making shit. So like I just want to break even on this thing. Right. Which is why I want to fill it out. And then hopefully it goes amazing. And the next one, like I'm charging more. Right.
It sounds amazing. So can you send me like the application or whatever?
You don't need an application. You're in. You just
Okay.
need to send me $5,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can
so
do that.
you're in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for people watching and listening,
Yes.
like that's kind of that's the
Okay.
deal. So
Good.
yeah, it's more about, honestly, it's more about like recommendations of people now.
Okay.
We're kind of at the point where like, I'm not going to just take some rando
that we don't know.
Yeah.
Someone,
Like it's like if
yeah.
Ty's got a guy that you're like, dude, I think this guy, like that guy that fucking hates me, that's your best friend.
Eric. Oh, he would be great. Brewer.
That guy fucking hates me.
He called him out on his
Oh
shit
boy, he
time.
motherfucked me. He motherfucked me online.
He did.
Yeah.
You would really like him.
And I text Ty, I'm like, do you know this fucking guy?
Oh yeah.
Like, what's this guy's fucking problem?
Oh yeah. We've worked for him for over 15 years.
He's like, you'd really like him. I'm like, I don't fucking think I would. I'm like, fuck this guy.
No, you guys would hit it off.
Yeah,
good.
I don't. He didn't like my language.
No, and I think he's trying to make that turn. And has been on that journey for a minute.
Worry about himself.
Right. Well, and again, I'm really surprised to see him call you out. It just, you know how it is. Sometimes we're in those moods.
Yeah.
And he must have been in that mood that day where it was like,
when I get in those moods, what I've learned that I have to do is I have to type it out. Right.
Yes.
I type it out and I'm like, you motherfucker. And I go in there and I do it. Then I screenshot it and I send it to a friend so I can get a laugh. And then I delete it and I don't post it.
There you go. I've done that too.
Yeah.
I've done that already.
But you have to send it to somebody so you can get the reaction that you want to get, right? Because you want to feel justified in your anger or how clever you are, right? Because I think I'm just fucking hilarious all the time, right?
Yes.
And so I think everything that I type is just hilarious and just lands. So I need somebody to go, and just laugh their ass off. And then I can delete it. Then I feel justified and I don't have to put it out in the world.
Yep, there you go. Decompress.
So that alone, that little tip for everybody was worth the show.
It totally was.
You're welcome.
You're 30 minutes on your way to work tomorrow morning when you're listening to this. You got to listen to it the whole way to the end.
Whole way
to get that.
That one's free.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. So I put my foot in my mouth one time. There was this. I posted something, and I saw that somebody laughed. And they put the little laughy emoji just in the corner, not in the comments or anything like that.
Yep.
And I put them on blast right in the thread.
Did they respond?
Oh yeah. and a couple of their little asshole buddies, but then all my little asshole buddies chimed in too. And it was kind of like this thing back and forth. And I left it there. I didn't even delete it.
Really?
No, I didn't give a shit.
Trolls are fun once you start, like, people start paying attention to you.
Yeah.
Right. And you start getting trolls. Like they made me really, really angry. And so now we get a lot of not a lot, like I'm not that fucking important, but I'll get nasty YouTube comments all the time.
For sure.
And so I have a stock response now. And every time somebody says something shitty, I just respond and go, thanks for listening. And that's it.
Yeah.
And I just leave it there. And then nothing ever comes of it. And I'm like, that's just who they are.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're so sad in their life and they're so beaten down. They probably got some fucking old lady that just chastises them all goddamn day.
Just
right.
Miserable.
They're just miserable pricks. And like, this is the only thing that gets them going. Right. It's like all they fucking have.
Yeah. And
like,
they're trying to stir your pot. They're trying to get a reaction out of you is what they're trying to do. And with that response back, how can they fire back? What are they going to say?
And that pisses them off.
I'm not listening, asshole. Well, obviously you did because you commented. Right. Like, so how can you respond to that?
Respond to it because like I responded 3 times in one answer.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's good. That pisses them off more. You're getting the last laugh.
It's always YouTube.
Yeah, I heard that. For some reason, we haven't got one yet, but now we probably will.
Well, they're fun.
They are.
But here's the thing, though. It also fucking jumps in the algorithm, so you get more watches.
And I said, I commented on. I made a comment to somebody that posted something like that, and thank you for boosting our algorithm.
Yes,
and they never responded back.
No, I'm going to start using that one next too. Is thank you for boosting our algorithm, so more people will watch.
Right. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm in. Good.
Yeah.
That's a lot of tips for everybody. Yes. I mean, Christ, you got a lot of information here. You're welcome.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was good. Glad we took the extra 10 minutes.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you have a wonderful time listening to this, whether it be on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, Google, what else? I think all major platforms.
Sure.
Check it out tomorrow morning. Eric, I'm just going to say Oberembt. Damn it. It felt like I like the.
You have to throw a U in because of where you live, right? That's why it's always a U, but there's no U in it. You're too fast.
Eric O.
Yep, there you go. Eric O.
Eric O, everybody. Check him out. erico.com.
That's not true. Thanks, Ty. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.